How does pawn structure relate to control of space? Have you ever wondered how the arrangement of pawns can shape the entire game of chess? Understanding the connection between pawn structure and control of space is essential for any player looking to improve their game. Let's break it down in a straightforward way. First, let's define what we mean by pawn structure. This term refers to how pawns are positioned on the chessboard. The way they are arranged can greatly influence the movement and development of your pieces. Now, control of space is about dominating areas of the board with your pawns and pieces. This limits your opponent's options and opens up opportunities for you. One key concept is the pawn chain. A pawn chain is a line of pawns that supports each other. This formation can block attacks and control important squares. However, it can also restrict your own pieces if not managed well. Creating effective pawn chains can help you dominate key areas of the board. Next, we have open files. When pawns are moved, they can open files for your rooks. Rooks are most powerful on open files, allowing them to control vertical space. This is crucial for maintaining pressure on your opponent. Another important aspect is the idea of pawn islands. These are groups of pawns that are separated by open files. The fewer pawn islands you have, the better your pawn structure tends to be. This makes it easier to defend your position and maneuver your pawns effectively. Now let's talk about hanging pawns. These are pawns positioned on the d4 and c4 squares for white, or d5 and c5 for black, without pawns on the adjacent files. They control central squares and can be a strong asset. However, they can also become targets if they are not properly supported. Isolated pawns, or isolani, are another interesting type. These are pawns that stand alone on their file without any neighboring pawns. While they can control the square in front of them, they can also be weak and vulnerable to attack. In practical terms, controlling key squares is vital. By placing your pawns strategically, you can limit your opponent's movement and create chances for your pieces to attack. Identifying weak pawns in your opponent's structure can also lead to gaining space and creating threats. Lastly, consider pawn levers. These are pawns that can be advanced to challenge your opponent's structure. This can create weaknesses in their position and open lines for your pieces to take advantage of. In summary, understanding how pawn structure relates to control of space is essential for developing a strong chess strategy. By managing your pawns wisely, you can influence the dynamics of the game, restrict your opponent's options, and create favorable conditions for your own pieces.